Yes, we are back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Few Beers and a Shot. This is Juan, and with me, as always, Mr.
It's Kyle. How's it going?
How's it going, Mr. Kyle?
Good, man. Good.
Good. So we're back, and we're looking for trouble.
Yes. Yeah, it took about a week and a half off?
Yes. Had a nice little break. Or, let's just say break.
Yeah. Well, we knocked out that miniseries. Like, we knocked that out.
Yes.
And it was a long time recording.
Yes, doubles.
Yes.
We had to do some doubles. So, back to back. And we're finally, we're done with it. It was fun, though.
Oh, yeah. I liked it a lot, man.
Yeah.
And I liked having a little bit of a change of pace to our program and doing something a little off the wall from, just sitting here.
Yeah. I did get some feedback from personal friends of mine, and they listened to the show, and they liked it. They said that, hey, I could recommend some shows you can watch so you can continue following down.
Oh, I was getting feedback too, and I actually there was some of the feedback was kind of funny, like with our Hollywood Secret Societies one.
Yeah.
Emma.
Yes.
She was like, I don't agree with you. I'm like, what? She goes, Miley Cyrus did not sell her soul to the devil to become famous. She's amazing. I'm like, look, I didn't say that she sold her soul. I'm just going off of what the research was showing that we found.
The Google machine told me.
I'm like, do I think she sold her soul? Nah, maybe not. But do I think that there's some weird shit that's going on with some of the other things that we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the best part. Funny segue to that. So while we were talking about that, yesterday, we were floating on the river, and somebody brought up like conspiracy theories and all these other kind of things, and I had Colleen, Emma, and Julio all turn to look at me, and they go, "Shut up!" They're like, "Don't talk."
What were they talking about?
I don't even remember.
To shut you up.
Oh, because they were talking about.
Were you about to open a can of worms?
No, I wasn't even going to say anything. I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything at all.
Should have been like, you listen to the podcast.
It was Suge Knight and Tupac.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, and then everybody's like, shh. And I'm like, all right, fine.
It's like, I'm the guy that actually has to talk about this.
Yeah.
And you're shutting me up? Listen, lady, I am a man.
And other people are like, people that didn't know about the podcast, like, oh, what's your point of view on it? I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, let's just enjoy our time here. And have a good time. I'm like, I don't want anybody to get mad at me.
Should have been like, you want my take? Here's the link.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so funny because I had them look at me and be like, don't. And I'm like, all right, fine, I won't.
Yeah, well, I a couple of my buddies were like, dude, we listened to the episodes and some shit. Like, it's like they started noticing things like on the social media, stuff like that. Like, I didn't see that before.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And now, especially since like more and more the UFO thing is coming up.
Oh, the fact that they talked about the fact that we have a UFO and it's not of human.
Yes.
Yeah, like that is even more baffling.
Yeah.
Like I was on the phone with somebody, or talking about it with somebody. Like, isn't it crazy that we're in a lifetime where like this is happening?
Yeah.
Like they're actually okay with saying that there's alien stuff out there. I'm like, well, yeah. Because the people from like Area 51 or not Area 51, but like the Roswell incident and all those other people, like they're all dead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter anymore. I'm like, just like in about 10 years when all the people from JFK is dead, they'll be able to say, yeah, we killed them. Or, yeah, these are the people who killed them. We knew it all along. And all those other things. Like, give, another 5 years or so, and they'll talk about like, yeah, Hitler was in Argentina and he died there.
Probably.
And we know because we found him and we just let him there to die.
Yeah.
So I feel like as soon as we get to that point where the people who are involved are no longer around to be held accountable. Yeah. As soon as those people are gone, they'll say they found fucking aliens.
Oh yeah, give it another 20 years. We're going to know a lot more about the shit that's,
But there's also a conspiracy theory about bringing up aliens that goes into another kind of lockdown situation like they did with the coronavirus.
There's a conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theory?
Yes. Well, no, about like how they can use the fact that now that they say that, we found there was alien technology
Stay in
here.
your home or your aliens
now
will
you
get you.
You need to give up more
freedoms
because there might be an attack.
Yeah.
And now you need to give complete control of the internet and social media over to the government so that they know, not the U.S. government, but just governments in general from all countries, so that they can control it, so that they know what's going on at all times, because they need to be able to give out the information about the impending doom of the alien invasion.
Sounds like some Robotech shit, Macross Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the world came united, because I forgot what they're called, the big-ass dudes. That's why they had to have the mech planes.
Yes.
Yeah. That shit was crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's all coming true, prophesized, Simpson style.
Oh, dude. So, we'll get into this, dude. Yeah. So, but let's do a little recap on our little.
Well, can we talk about what we're drinking?
We can get
today?
to the beer in a minute. Let's just talk, man.
Okay.
We always get right into the beers. Let's change it up a little bit. We changed it up for 5 episodes. Let's keep the changing up and going a little bit.
Yeah, true.
You know.
Okay, so let's see. Let's do a recap. We had the UFO and Area 51 conspiracy theory episode. What'd you think about that one?
See,
what'd you like and what did you not like about it?
I liked it, and then the crazy thing is that after we did it, I watched more stuff, and I have figured out more things that I wanted to talk about.
Isn't that crazy how you always go you're like, shit, I should have said this during the episode after you see it.
And then really uncovering Area 51, and then the connection with Skinwalker Ranch and all the UFO phenomenon around that area. Actually, Skinwalker Ranch is really weird, and I feel like maybe we should just do a whole episode just on Skinwalker Ranch. After I watched the two documentaries on it, and I've listened to other people talk about it, and it's weird, dude. It's a really weird place.
Yeah.
But I mean, UFOs are always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't say I didn't like anything about it. I like our the stuff that we do. Mm-hmm. It's just UFOs is just one of those topics that was big in the 60s, and it kind of drifted away and came back and forth.
Well, I think it was kind of big up until the 90s.
Yeah, but I'm talking about now we have
it's just
people
it's
confirming it. Oh yeah, there's aliens.
So, all that shit you believed for 20 years or 30 years. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's true. Sorry to burst. We bursted your bubble. Now we're just going to tell you the truth now and not even care about it.
Man.
Yep.
You burst my bubble.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was fake, but yeah, never know. So yeah, the UFO one, I liked it. I like digging into the unknown, especially when you think about what's out there. And I mean, it's a thing where they always say we haven't even explored our world completely, and we're already going out into the stars.
We allegedly know more about space than we do about our own ocean.
Yes, at least our immediate.
Yes, I mean, and it just makes you think what the fuck is in the ocean?
Yeah. Oh, they got the Mariana Trench.
Yeah, I know.
The megalodons.
Yeah, and that bubble.
Sharknado. The bubble.
Sharknado. No, okay. We don't.
No, was some of the movies that came out the octopus shark and shit like that? Dude, those are B movies that are just too goofy.
The fact that they made 12 Sharknados.
Are they on 12?
I don't know. They're
last I saw it was 8. And it was always fucking Steve Zahn.
Yes.
No, not Steve Zahn.
Yeah, the dude from
Beverly Hills
90210.
That's not Steve Zahn.
And him and no, it's not. Zerling, something Zerling.
Is it?
Here, I'll look it up right now.
Yeah.
It's him and Tara Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just put in Sharknada. Ian Ziering.
There you go. Ian Ziering.
Yes. And they are on.
What Sharknado are we
Let's see. How many films in the series are they in? Let's see. Okay. So they went to 6.
I thought they were on 8 already.
No, it says, so the titles are Sharknado, Sharknado 2, the second one.
Yeah.
Sharknado 3, oh hell no. Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens. Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. And the last Sharknado, It's About Time.
Yeah. And then those are clever
and then
titles.
they've had 3 spin-offs called Lava Lantula, which is about a fire-spitting tarantula.
Okay.
Causing havoc in L.A. To Lava Tarantula was a sequel. And 2025 Armageddon, which is a crossover film released to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Asylum. and features an alien race using Sharknado alongside other films from the asylum as the basis for monsters sent to attack Earth.
Sounds like that movie Pixels.
Holy shit. That is something else, man. Holy crap.
Man.
And Ian Ziering and Tara Reid have been in every Sharknado.
Hey, man.
They're the only two that have been in every Sharknado.
They gotta eat, man.
So Vivica A. Fox was in 1. David Hasselhoff was in 2.
The Hoff was in there?
Dolph Lundgren was in 1.
That's not surprising.
Let's see.
Who was he? Tara Reid's dad or some shit, right?
Dolph Lundgren played Gil Shepard Jr., which was Ian Ziering's father, I believe. No. Yeah, that'd be his... Yeah. Okay. So David Hasselhoff had to have played Ian Ziering's grandfather to then play Dolph Lundgren's dad.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. That is
UFOs, man. All right.
Okay. Wow, that was weird. Anyway.
Yeah, that was weird. Sharknado.
Yes.
It took over for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Well, we were talking about, exploring the world's ocean instead of space.
We should definitely cover Sharknado in one of these episodes.
No, I don't want to watch any of those. Yes. I watched part of one and had to turn it off. So it was brutal, dude. I was like, no, I can't do it.
They're horrible B movies, but at the same time, it's like a train wreck.
They shouldn't even be B. They were like D movies. Okay, they were that bad.
Nah. So
then moving over to the second episode,
JFK.
Good old JFK, or when you first initially pushed out JKF.
Because it was just kidding, friend.
Yeah. That was a good one too. That's one of those topics that I've always been interested in and intrigued in, and there's just so much
shroud around it.
Yeah, and like you have information, or do you have misinformation?
Yeah,
and then you have witness accounts, but are those really the accounts of those witnesses? Like, there's so much out there, and you don't really know what's going on. And then you gotta you have videos.
It's one of those things. I feel like this episode, the JFK one, was kind of like a 9/11 type episode.
Yeah,
where it's like, yeah, it's one of those things like you said, where like they have to wait for everybody who's there or held accountable or could be held accountable is gone before they can release that shit.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be like that probably in another 30 years for 9/11, where they're gonna be like, oh yeah, it was an inside job.
Oh, it's gonna be way longer than that, dude. I don't see us knowing the truth about it. Like we will have to be gone before that's
for 9/11.
Yeah, I think so. Unless somebody comes into office where,
I think I give it another 20 to 30 years before they're like, yeah.
Oh, dude, it's been. What?
2001.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about for JFK.
Oh.
You're looking at 60 years?
Yeah.
You're still looking at 60 years and they still haven't said anything.
So we might be around 80 when they release that.
Yeah.
Shit. But maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, no.
Yeah, because it depends on,
maybe
it depends on which Bush is still alive, which Bin Laden is still alive, which
Bin Laden gone.
No, the family, dude. The family.
Oh.
Because you got to remember, like, we didn't even get into 9/11, but when, all the planes were grounded, there was one plane that was allowed to leave the United States.
Yes.
And it was one with his family on it going back to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those people still need to die, too, before any of that stuff gets released.
So, maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. That we completely overlooked that one.
Yep. Well, I mean, no, we can get into it at a later date. I feel like we had a pretty good, solid, ground to start on as far as conspiracy theories.
Sure.
And JFK is like one of the epitome of conspiracy theories, at least like growing up in our time, because then the movie JFK came out and just everything else that like came with it, the Bay of Pigs and the CIA and
there's a couple movies that kind of
Vietnam.
like are the what are they called? They're the pins on that tragedy.
Yeah.
Which are the JFK movie, and then which one was the one with Kevin Costner where he was the guy that he's like, oh, I could have saved JFK, where he's a Secret Service agent. It's where John Malkovich makes the plastic gun to get through.
Oh yeah, that wasn't JFK. Though.
No, it's not. But it's like kind of like where he's Secret Service and he's like, if I had been there, I could have been there. I could have saved him.
Yeah.
And they questioned Kevin Costner the whole movie, like, would you really take a bullet for somebody else?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the movie he does, and he still survives. Happy endings.
Yeah, that was another good one.
I don't know if it's like the Thin Red Line or some shit like that. That might be a war movie.
No, the Thin Red Line was a different. It's a different.
That's a war movie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a Civil War.
Yeah, there you go. That was a book too. I think we had to read it in high school.
Yes, we read that in grammar school or
junior high.
Junior high.
Yeah,
we read that
sounded familiar.
because that Thin Red Line is about a kid, during the Civil War.
Okay, so while you're looking that up, I'm gonna pop this bad boy open right here. This Hazy Hero. We're going back to Revolutionary Brewing, so we'll skip the history.
Since we're recapping episodes.
Yes.
We're gonna recap a beer.
Yes.
Well, at least a brewery, which is Revolution Brewery, which is a local one here in Chicago.
Yes,
so.
We're doing one of the varieties of Revolution Brewing, which is the Hazy Hero, Hazy Indian Pale Ale. This has 7.3% alcohol by volume. It's juicy sugar of tropical hops, or juicy surge of tropical hops. I can't talk.
Yeah, I can tell.
Blah, 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 blah.
You got a little weird thing going on there, man.
So, let's pop this bad boy open. I'm using this thing for everything.
I know, I can tell. I know you like using that thing.
I do.
Ooh, I smell the surge of
tropical hopness.
tropical hops and some juiciness.
So cheers.
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 No, I didn't try it. I sniffed it.
There you go. Downing half a can again.
I took a sip.
Every time.
I took a sip. I only took a sip.
No,
No, I go like this.
Oh.
That was barely anything that came into my mouth on that one, okay?
You let too much air get in, dude.
No, then I get the really good burps that go on with it,
That's because you get a lot of air in. But anyway, Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I'm still looking for it. Hang on.
Come on.
You took me off track with what I was looking at.
Well, it's kind of related to the JFK sort of storyline. So.
Yeah.
It's not the good, the bad, and the ugly. Or Unforgiven.
No. Or The Untouchables.
No, definitely not.
That was another good movie, though.
It is. Unforgiven. I saw that like when I was young, and I was like, it's fucking boring. And then I saw it as an adult, and I was like, man, Unforgiven is a damn good movie, man.
He was in the Justice League?
Was he?
Oh, his voice. He was Jonathan Kent in Zack Snyder's The Justice League. He just did the voice.
Kevin Costner?
Yeah. He was the voice uncredited.
Well, but I thought we were looking for Clint Eastwood. Yeah, because Kevin Costner was... he was the dad in Man of Steel.
You were talking about Kevin Costner this whole time, and you want me to look up Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. No, because Kevin Costner did JFK.
Yes, and you kept on saying Kevin Costner this whole time.
All right.
So I was looking up Kevin Costner movies.
No, Clint Eastwood.
All right, Clint Eastwood movies. Okay.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood did the movie In the Line of Fire.
Yes,
that's the movie.
Yes,
I didn't even look it up, and I'm like, that's who it is.
Yeah, because then you got on track on who you're actually talking about.
Yes, my brain went. I needed a reboot. That's what happened. See, I drink the beer, the brain juices start flowing.
I got you. I got you.
The soul comes to the surface. But yeah, that was also a good movie. I would recommend that if somebody's like into conspiracies about shit like that.
Well, there was a couple good movies like that. There's one with we're getting off topic, but there's one with
don't worry, we'll reel it back in.
Oh crap. It's with Kiefer Sutherland. Where he's a Secret Service agent.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
And like they're making it like a plot that he's trying to kill the president. He's in it. Eva Longoria's in it, and Michael. Is it
Fassbender?
Douglas? Douglas, the one that's married to Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, it's Michael Douglas.
They're in it, and that's actually a really good movie. Actually, I like a lot of stuff that Kiefer Sutherland has been doing. Have you watched The Rabbit Hole yet?
No,
dude, that's a really good show.
I like him, just never. I like his movies. I never got into him doing shows.
Like 24?
Yeah, I never saw 24.
Oh, dude, 24 is a really good show, too.
Then he did the one, too, where he was like, by default, he ended up being president.
Oh, Designated Survivor, dude.
Yes, that one.
Okay, I could do a whole fucking 2 hours on that show. That show is amazing. and they should have done another season when they ended it. Yeah, that one was really good.
Okay.
It's called the movie I'm thinking was called The Sentinel.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of
that's
that
a
one.
really good one.
Is that's a newer one, isn't it?
No, it's from 2006.
Okay, because I think they just did a show called The Sentinel.
Yeah, there is a show, but that has nothing to do with it. Okay. But it's Kiefer Sutherland, Eva Longoria. And she actually does a pretty good job in this one too. Like, I'm not a big fan of hers when it comes to acting. But Michael Douglas,
Desperate Housewives.
All right, shut up. It's Michael Douglas, Kiefer Sutherland, Kim Basinger, Eva Longoria. Let's see who are.
Oh,
some
you
other
could tell
people.
it is old when you got Kim Basinger in there.
I'm trying to think of somebody else who's kind of noteworthy that was in this movie. I think that might have been it. Like, at least people that you would be able to know by their names.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good movie. I liked it.
Yeah. You know, Breaking Down. That movie's a good movie.
Breaking Down?
Yeah, Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah, that movie.
That movie's fucking good. I'm just bringing it up because you mentioned Michael Douglas was in it, and I was like, man.
And he's trying to order breakfast. And
and then he runs into the homies on the hill.
Yeah. Dude, I remember the one time I got my haircut wrong, and it looked just like that, and I had glasses.
You got the flat top?
I had glasses at the time too. This one guy's like, "Man, you look like Michael Douglas from that movie." I'm like, "Yeah, no, sorry."
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
I'm like, "Nope, that's not me. Sorry."
Do you have some microchips in your suitcase?
Yeah, no, I didn't. But JFK, just kind of bring it all back around.
Yeah,
still good, good one, and hopefully one day we'll learn the truth.
I'm still like, for that one, I know like the whole photograph theory was debunked, but kind of wish it wasn't.
I don't know, man. I mean, is it debunked or is it people saying it's debunked?
Well, it's been said to be debunked, and
yeah.
I'm doing air quotes.
Yes,
but I don't know, man. I like, cause they're like the technology doesn't exist at that time to Photoshop it or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but you could get a guy that looks exactly like him to do whatever you want.
Yeah, but I mean, but then you also got to think about it. At that time, did we really know what the government had at that time? And you can't, and you can always play the devil's advocate on both sides of it.
Right.
Like, how do we know what they really had? Like, they didn't tell us a lot, or everybody what they heard at that period of time. Everybody believed.
Right.
Because you never really questioned it. You're just like, oh, the government's not gonna lie to us. Why would they lie to us? They're here to protect us.
Yeah.
So
my take on that was he was a patsy.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, he was involved, definitely.
Yeah,
he was part of it, but I digress.
And then your favorite episode, I feel like, was next.
Oh yes,
the Hollywood Secret Societies. I feel like that was one that you that was one you really wanted to do.
Yes.
That one was okay with me. Like, I don't know, there's just so much, like, ick that comes with it. That's why I wasn't too fond of it, because of just how much gross, just nasty things come from that, from that area, and I just...
Well, that's why it's not like I enjoy hearing about it.
No,
but it's just one of those things where you're just like, it's something it's entertainment. And I'm not talking about, like, this is entertaining. I'm not talking about what they do behind the closed doors.
Oh, I know.
I'm talking about, like, the movie industry, TV shows, whatever, celebrities, all that. It's all, they basically throw it in your face constantly.
Yes.
Because, I mean, we talk about movies constantly. We talk about, I don't want to say celebrities did this or that because we're not really fucking TMZ, but...
Yeah, no.
But, like, to kind of dig in and see what happens behind closed doors and how they hide it. And even then, we went into, like, the Illuminati and shit like that and how it's all controlled.
It is kind of funny we brought up Ariana Grande, and she just got fucking caught up having an affair
with SpongeBob?
With their fucking... Yeah, that fucking guy, dude. SpongeBob on Broadway.
Yeah.
Like, yep. Oh, dude. It was...
That dude cheated on his wife with Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like...
he let her know. He's like, I'm going to cheat on you.
Like, he must be, like...
Oh, yeah, he's on Cloud 9, dude.
No, I'm talking about he must be like...
Oh.
Yeah, like, to land anybody. 'Cause
9.
I thought he was gay as shit.
I don't even know who the guy is. I heard about...
I just know he was SpongeBob
yeah.
on that fucking awful movie where he's on, on Broadway. Yeah. And it's terrible. I couldn't get past the first 30 seconds of it. I had to turn it off.
I haven't seen it, so.
You don't want to.
But yeah.
You really don't want to.
See, here's the thing. We talk about it, and then the shit happens. I feel like a Simpsons thing going on here.
Yeah, we will.
I know.
That's something we will talk about at a later date.
Yes.
But
yes, I definitely did want to touch on that, and I'm still like intrigued by the whole Red Shoe Club thing, because that's obviously we don't have a list of all the victims, if there are victims.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing you could put, like, any kind of child actor who disappeared or committed suicide or died of some kind of weird, mysterious ways. Like, you can kind of fit them into it,
Oh yeah, I'm still haunted by that. Well, not haunted, but like I'm still thrown off by that Henry Winkle, like the interviews at different dates.
Oh yeah, when he said that kid fucking killed herself or whatever it was.
Well, at first he's like, oh, she was sweet and blah blah blah, and she died. You know, she had like ulcer or whatever.
Yeah.
And she died of natural causes, and then later on he's like, oh yeah, I think her dad like killed her or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was a little weird how he had two different stories at two different times.
Yeah, but definitely interesting topic. Secret societies are always interesting to me, especially since like before that I watched the movie The Skulls, which is based on the Skulls and Bones Secret Society, which are leaders of America. Yeah,
dude. I mean, it's a pretty cool group.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like not. I mean, if you really kind of dive into them, and how like, a lot of the founding members of the CIA and different groups are all former Bonesmen. Yeah. And just kind of like these guys were picked to run.
Selected.
Yeah.
Handpicked.
Yeah, and literally handpicked because you had to be tapped on the shoulder as your selection on your junior year at Yale.
Yeah.
That's.
And I know they did a second movie. I never watched it.
So the movies, like I was listening to another podcast where they really dove into the Skull and Bones, and there's a couple people who were Bonesmen, who didn't have as much, I guess you could say, like influence as other Bonesmen, and they were able, like, they talked about a few things, and they're like, yeah, dude, like those movies were so fucking exaggerated. And they're like, the island, they're like, we went to an island, yeah, but they're like, it was nothing like that. Like, this island was shitty that we were on. We hung out, and it was just really, like, the house was really old, and, like, a whole bunch of the older dudes would show up and just make you feel like shit, but they would give you a whole bunch of stuff. He goes,
it's like the old dudes hazing the younger guys?
Yeah, and he's like, they're like, yeah, we got a lot of stuff, but he's like, there's, like, they're
like the cars and shit.
Yeah, they're like, we got money. Like, they would look in their bank accounts, and they would have like 20 G's.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
But like that part of it, they're like, yeah. But they're like, we didn't have girls just coming into our rooms and be like, oh, you're a Bonesman, huh? Like, they're like, yeah, no, that shit didn't happen. Yeah, they're like, that didn't happen. But they would be like, but like everybody had a job leaving college, like, because they would have those meetings where it was like the reunion.
Yeah,
and that's when you'd get your job offers. And you'd be like, yeah, I'll take a job with you. And it's when you had your job.
Yeah, they were like set up.
Yeah, but it's not like, but they didn't show up one day and there's a fucking, Mercedes or a Beamer. They're like, that kind of stuff didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, no, at least to the select group that they were able to interview.
Yeah.
I'm sure that some of the ones that they didn't interview, or like,
they could be different. I mean, I know there's different chapters.
No, the Bones are only from Yale.
Are they?
Yes, the Bonesmen are only Yale. That's where they're at, and that's where they're only from. Is the Skull and Bones are only at Yale University, and you're only selected on your junior year, and you have to be tapped on the shoulder.
Then I retract I know there's different chapters.
Yes, there's no other chapters. There's years, like different years, yeah, but no, it's only at
different
Yale.
Generations, legacies, etc.
Yes, you're only at Yale University.
Okay,
and it's like, Old Man Bush was a Bonesman. Junior was a Bonesman. Yeah. Then you had
he was
yeah.
He got that nose booger.
Who was the
nose nachos?
John Kerry. John Kerry was a Bonesman. When they were debating, there were two Bonesmen that were going for president.
Yeah.
So they were debating against each other. There's a lot of people that are considered Bonesmen or who have said, yeah, we're Bonesmen, but like they don't talk about the order at all.
Yeah. Because at that one of those things was like you have to keep it hush hush.
Yeah, yeah, and the select few people that have actually like done interviews and really talked about it were never as successful as other ones. Like they were kind of like mediocre. Have their success was very mediocre, so they were kind of like, well, fuck it, we don't care. Like we can talk about it because what's the big deal if we talk about it comparative like. The Bushes talk about it. Now you're bringing in something else. Like, so is your influence as a bonesman, has that been, influencing your political,
why the Florida thing?
Like when you were a dude who was like,
you were a bonesman, so you dug up all those bones and got their votes.
Like you were a manager of a bank in like
Tampa
West Virginia or
shit.
something, like you can kind of say like, yeah, I've had success as a bank manager and banking and all this stuff. But
let's just say you don't have it hard in life.
But you're not like, your ability to talk about it isn't going to make such a global or political impact as like them.
Yeah, and then you get a bag on your head and you disappear.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's the thing, though. Secret societies, man, they're always... There's always something to talk about them. Or speculate. Because, I mean, I was never part of one. I know you... I don't think you were. Were you?
No, I never was.
Is there something I need to know?
Wanted to be, but never was. I had an offer for one time. I might try to re-up it to see if it could happen, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh boy, here we go.
The next episode, actually, the last 2 episodes of the little mini series we did were probably my 2 favorite out of all of them. Those are 2 things that I'm really, really, really interested in.
Yeah.
The Knights Templar and the Freemasons is one thing that I've been fascinated with. Probably since I was, 8 years old. I've always been interested in it. Like those, I played a game, what was it called? Civilizations.
Yeah.
And they had a downloadable pack where you can go during the Crusades and you can either be like the Saracens, which were the Muslims, against the Crusaders, and you can build up the Knights Templar, or if you can be like, you could be a faction of the Catholic Church and then recruit Knights Templar to be your units and stuff like that, and then you would go off and attack and control different areas. Like I always thought those were pretty cool games.
Yeah.
And then just all the mystery and folklore that comes with it, and then like the first Assassin's Creed that came out, and completely blew your fucking mind. Like I always thought that kind of stuff was cool too.
I never played it.
You never played the first one?
I never played any Assassin's Creed.
Oh, dude, the first one was the best one. The first one was really good, and then I forgot which one it was. They did one about the American Revolution.
They did a bunch of them. They did like a Viking one. They did the Egyptian one.
They did, yep, and then they did a couple during like the French Revolution. Yeah. But the first one was really cool because it was really during like, well, the part like the gameplay of it was during the Crusades.
Yeah.
And the Middle East and stuff, but the one with the American Revolution was pretty neat because you played like a Native American kid who becomes an assassin, and like you have to kind of you have to fight against the Templars. And it's a really cool, like, you would like the games. They're really long and very like really thought out. Like you would like them.
Maybe. I mean, I don't have as much time to game anymore, but
no, but like the concept of the game is pretty cool because like they'll be like, all right, Juan, your ancestors were these people, so we're gonna hook you up to this supercomputer to then find the DNA that is related to them and unlock these historical things that happen, and you will relive them in your head,
kind of like in the movie. I never saw the movie, but I know that's kind of something they did in there, right?
Yeah,
it was like you kind of
like the Matrix, like you're plugged into it and you go and you relive it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Like and then the one game that you play, like you kind of you get to play as the character that actually you are. Like
Enzo?
No, like the dude in present day. Like you're actually able to play him for a little bit. And I always thought that they should have done like a present day Assassin's Creed. Like you're that guy.
They did. It's called Hitman.
No, okay, but I'm talking about in line of the games. Like he learned like who his family was from all these generations,
right?
To then finally he fucking wakes up and he breaks out and he is
an assassin.
The assassin, like he brings back the Assassin's Creed in present day.
So, quick question, because I never played the games. How many of these games did you actually play through?
Shit.
More than one?
I probably played. I'll have to look up how many there actually are.
Oh, there's a
I
bunch.
probably played. I played the first one. I played the second one. And then they got kind of weird because then they were like there was PSP ones, and all these other ones, and I didn't play any of those.
Okay, so my question to that is it always the present day guy going back and unlocking these?
Some
memories?
of them are, not all of them.
Okay, that was my question.
But here, let me see how many there actually are. I played the one with, is it Enzo? I played that one.
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
No, that's the second one.
Okay.
The first one is his name's like Adriel or something like that.
Yeah, because they go back to like the French Revolutionary War and shit like that too, don't they?
Well, but that's not the first one.
No, I'm not saying that's the first one. I'm saying they go back and touch on like specific times in history.
Yes.
Where there's like a war going on.
Yes. So you have the Assassin's Creed franchise. Let's see, Assassin's Creed was the first one, obviously, and that was dealing more with like the Crusades. So you were in like Jerusalem and that kind of stuff, and then you had Assassin's Creed 2 and 3 were the Italian Renaissance.
There you go.
And then Assassin's Creed 4 was the Ottoman Civil War, the Third Crusade, and the Mongol invasion, which I've never played that one. Oh, that looks like that one was like a spin-off one. And then Assassin's Creed 3 was the French and Indian War and the American Revolution. That was a really cool one, that one, where you play this Native American kid. And the present-day character of that was Desmond Miles. And then they have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which was like a pirate one.
Yeah.
Then there was Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I played that one too. And that one you were this dude, Shay Cormac, during like the French and Indian War. That one was pretty neat. And then there's another one.
It was neat.
It was pretty neat, yeah. And then you have
okay, old timer.
Hey, I am. And then you had another one, Assassin's Creed Unity. That was like a PSP one, I think.
Yeah.
That was during the French Revolution. Then Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I think I might have played that one for a minute, where you play like two different characters.
That sounds more like a present time shit.
That one was the Victorian England and World War One.
Okay.
So and then you had then they went back to Assassin's Creed Origins with Egypt.
Yeah.
And then you went to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was the Peloponnesian War, and that was another. This character was called Layla Hassan, was the present day character
because of inclusion.
And then they did Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was also Layla Hassan, and then Basim in Ashak. So yeah, I mean, they've had quite a few, and then just like all the different like PSP or all the other ones that they were involved in. So I mean, there was ones that were even like on iPad Touch, and like all these different ones in between.
So since we're on the topic of,
I'm trying to see if they have any newer ones that are going to come out.
The Templars and shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like a mix between the past two episodes, which was the secret societies and shit. But I went back and started playing my PS3 because, nostalgia.
Yep.
And I started playing Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, which was like a reboot of the whole Castlevania series, which was, it could go either way. Some people like it, some people don't. I thought it was a neat redo because they retold the story. But it's cool because the guy that starts out the story is part of the Order. It's just called the Order, which is a secret society.
Yeah.
And they're doing God's work, so kind of like Crusade type shit because it's in the year like 1100 something. So it's around that time of the Crusades. Obviously, this is fiction; it's not real, but and he does all that shit, and then he starts gaining all this power from the Lords of Shadow.
Yep.
So it's just that's a really cool game. There's two of them. The first one was really good. The second one was I never played it because I heard it was and then I started watching YouTube videos of like gameplay and like the whole story, and I was like, Yeah, because the first one was so well done. At the end, the guy becomes Dracula, like, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, I'm just a vampire that's really powerful. No, like, he became... Like, he's a guy from the Order, right? A secret society. He's doing God's work. He's like a crusader type shit. And they're like, hey, man, his wife was killed. So he's, like, kind of investigating that. And then they send him on a mission. They're like, hey, we got word from heaven, from, the what are they called? The elders, let's call them.
Okay.
So you got 3 elders, right? And they're like, okay, so you have to go... There's 3 pieces of a mask that allows us to connect with God and whatever. Or power, like to see the dead and shit. So he goes off and he's like, I gotta find these 3 pieces. That's your mission. They break the game down. The first one is like, okay, so you go and you fight the Lycan Lord, which is, werewolf. Mm-hmm. So you go through werewolf territory. And then you kill the werewolf. But before you kill him, they tell you, he's like, oh, they didn't tell you this, like, we're the dark side of the dudes that went to heaven. So he's like, we're like, if you kill me, the guy in heaven, the Lord of Light or whatever, he's gonna die. He's like, if you're gonna do that because somebody disconnected heaven from the world, then he's gonna die. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I was sent on a mission, so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So you get power from that dude, and then you go to the next one, and it's a vampire, and it's Carmilla. Carmilla's like fictional character, but known throughout history as like a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
So, but she was hot, allegedly, in fiction. Anyway, she was like a seductress.
Carmilla Bing?
Dude. No, not Carmilla Bing. It was just Carmilla, the vampire.
Well, never mind then.
So you kill her, she's a vampire, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the necromancers, which is like death, essentially. Yes. So you go, you take care of that dude, and you find out that dude is the guy that was helping you throughout the whole game. And it's Sir Patrick Stewart. He does the voice. So, and then you find that, like, that dude gets done by Lucifer, because Lucifer was the one that put everything in motion. So at the end, you fight Lucifer.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Always have to come fight Lucifer.
Yeah. So at the end of the game, like, that's the end of the game, right? You fight Lucifer, and the dude's like, his wife died, he's suffering, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, game's over. And this dude's Gabriel Belmont. Huh. So he's like the first Belmont. This is a reboot, by the way, so. it's a retelling of like the Belmont clan, yes. Which the whole Castlevania history is fucked up. Anyway,
I always like playing those games.
Yeah, they're fun. The original ones, yeah.
Yes,
this one's good too. So
the old school ones were
they were impossible to beat unless you had like some sort of cheat.
Yes,
or you were a fucking master player.
Yes. So
you beat Lucifer, and then they came out with a DLC because of course you get to pay more to get the full story.
Yes.
So
Lucifer comes back.
No, Lucifer is like locked in hell, whatever, after you beat him. So, as you're traveling back through the game, you go back to the castle where you kill the vampire queen or whatever, Carmilla. Okay. And there's this little girl, Laura, who's a vampire who's kept there. And she tells you, like, well, all the shit you did, killing the Lords of Shadow, which essentially killed the Brothers of Light, they had this big bad dude locked out, which was called the Forgotten One. So that's the DLC.
The Forgotten One.
Yes. So then, that dude's in a dimensional rift. Mm-hmm. So in order to get there, you can't be human. So Gabriel Belmont has to turn into a vampire.
Okay.
So you get bitten by this girl, you go into the thing, and then you beat the guy, and he's like way more powerful than the 3 Lords of Shadow. So, anyway, you beat him. You beat that dude. You gain his power, and that's why Dracula's not just like a regular vampire. He's like a fucking OP vampire, which can't die because he's got like god level power.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but he came from a secret society.
I like how it all came full circle.
Yes. And I'm just talking about this because I just replayed the game. And I was able to skip all the mumbo-jumbo and just go like, I want to do the boss fights and remember a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of like Crusade-ish.
Yep.
If you think about it. They just don't use the term Crusade. Yeah. And I've always been interested. Like, I like to go back and watch movies about times like that. Like, What's that movie with Jeff Bridges? The Seventh Son.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Like, if you like those, like, corny monster movies, which is kind of funny, but, like, it's a monster movie at the end.
You know, it was actually a pretty decent movie for, like, a crusade type movie was Kingdom of Heaven.
Oh, my cousin fell asleep. I never saw it.
With Orlando Bloom?
Yeah.
It was actually not that bad.
My cousin went to the movie theater and fell asleep.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, it was so boring.
It wasn't boring. Like, the first part of it is kind of, it has to build up.
Like, I can't speak on it because I never saw it. I'm just telling you, like...
The first part is slow because it has to build up, kind of a backstory of Orlando Bloom is Liam Neeson's bastard child.
Okay.
And Liam Neeson is making his journey back to Jerusalem for the last crusade.
Yeah. And
in order to do that, he has to pass through the town that Orlando Bloom lives in.
His bastard child.
Yes. But he did, but it's kind of like on purpose at the same time.
Was he a Baratheon?
No. But because like Liam Neeson is older and he's dying, so he wants his son to come with him. No. And kind of be like, hey, you know what? I'm giving you everything that's mine. And
because he was did he not have like a child like a legitimate child?
Yeah, he didn't have a legitimate child.
You're my kid.
Yes, you're my kid. You're coming with me, and I'm giving you everything that I have. Give
me the recap because I never saw it.
So that's basic. So Orlando Bloom is a blacksmith, I think in like France.
Sounds very Baratheon to me.
Yeah, so he's a blacksmith. His wife commits suicide. Or like dies, commits suicide.
Sure, suicide.
Yeah, no, she goes crazy because I think like they tried to have a kid or something and it didn't work out, so then she like offed herself. So then he's just blacksmithing away, and Liam Neeson, who's his dad, is coming through with his people to make their crusade.
Whoa! His people,
his entourage,
crusaders, man.
His knights and everything else, because he's like a baron or whatever he is. So
did they say like you people?
Yeah. So they come in, they talk for a minute, and he tells him, "Hey, you're my kid," blah 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 blah. And Orlando Bloom's like, "All right, go." Did
he say it just like there was like
story? Yeah. You wanted me to give you the recap.
I know, but I'm just doing the.
So he's just doing like he tells him, and Orlando Bloom's like, "That's nice. Go fuck yourself. I don't really care." So then they go off, and then Orlando Bloom ends up getting into some trouble with a couple guys, ends up killing one of them. And he then is scared, so then he goes to like, "Hey, Dad, I need your help.
Of course.
I'll come back with you.
Oh, now
I'll do whatever I need to do." So then he learns how to fight and does all this other shit with Liam Neeson's like knights and everything, and learns
Turns
different
out he's
shit.
a prodigy fucking swordsman.
Yes.
Okay.
So then everything is going good, and then there's an attack that happens, and Liam Neeson gets like fatally wounded. So he's dying slowly. They get to this area before they take their journey to the Holy Land, and Liam Neeson, does his say to be like, "You are my son. Everything belongs to you. These are your people." Yada yada yada. Slaps him, turns him into a knight, brings him under his name, and they go on like that. They end up making their journey to the Holy Land. A whole bunch of people die. Orlando Bloom kind of gets like washed up on the shore because the boat that he was on gets fucking brutal, like just torn apart. Mm-hmm. He ends up on shore. He's walking around trying to figure out where to go. A Saracen finds him. They have a little bit of a fight. He kills the one dude. Another guy comes to fight him, and then he ends up like showing mercy to the other guy. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up like releasing the guy once he gets to Jerusalem. He's like, "Hey, just take me to where I need to go. That's all I want." Yeah. And he goes, and he's like, "Okay." And then they get there. He's like, "All right, man. Live your life. Have a good day." He goes, "No, you." He's like, "You killed my master. I'm yours now. I'm your property." He goes, No. I don't have that."
He's like, "I'm your squire."
Yeah. And he's no, like I'm your slave. Yeah. And he's like, "No, dude. Like I don't do that. That's not me. Like you live your life." And he goes, "I will let everybody know of your quality." So then this all goes around. He ends up getting he ends up making friends in high places, but also making enemies at the same time on the Catholic side. But the dude that he released was like the number 2 guy of the Muslim army. Mm. So when shit was going on, like he would talk to Salahuddin, who was the leader of the Saracen army, and like they would meet, and they were like, hey man, you showed me
mercy,
respect.
Oh.
I'm showing you respect back by letting this guy, he's talking to you, and we're allowing this meeting to happen. And then they have this big, huge battle. And at the end of it, like, what the hell's her name?
Helen of Troy.
No.
Wrong movie.
She was the Bond girl in Casino Royale.
Casino Royale.
Eva
Green.
Eva Green. So Eva Green is in this movie.
Okay.
And she's the sister of the King of Jerusalem. And she falls in love with Orlando Bloom. But she's already married to another guy. So he tells her, he's like, hey, like, I'm a blacksmith. Like, if I can't save everybody, are you happy with going back to the life of not being a fucking princess and living, a normal, like a blacksmith's life and this, that, and the other. He's like, because if we can't survive this, he's like, that's the only thing I know, and this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. So
they have this big, huge battle. They have a really big fight, and they get to the end where it's like a stalemate, and the only way to survive is for the Catholic or the Christians to give up Jerusalem and give it back to the Saracens because there's just so many of them.
Yeah.
But they made a deal where they're like, all right, hey, look. Everyone who's alive right now gets to leave and go wherever they want. Nobody will harm them. Nobody will do anything. They're free to leave. And then that's what they do. They end up going back to France, and he's blacksmithing while she's living.
She's making bread.
And another crusade is coming along, and they're like, "Oh, is this where so and so lives?" And he's like, "No, I don't know who you're talking about." And then they just go on their road.
He's like, "I ain't getting involved in that shit."
He's like, I'm done. But it's actually it's like. If you can get past like the first like 20 minutes, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And it was actually he did some pretty good acting. Like it was kind of like at points, but the story itself is a pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
So I like it because then it brings up a lot of shit with like some of the fucked up shit that the Templars did.
Yeah.
But it's still a pretty good movie. I liked it.
Well, it's like touching on another video game kind of Templar-ish was the Dante's Inferno game.
Yes.
Which is, fiction, but they touch on it. I don't know if you ever saw the animated movie. It's fucking crazy, dude.
No, you were telling me about it, though.
It's really interesting.
I remember reading the book.
I read it's a poem, actually.
Yeah, but it's like
it's a poem.
Yeah, but it's a pretty long poem.
Yeah, it is. The Divine Comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, I read it. I read the first part, because there's 3 parts. It's Inferno, Purgatory, and then Heaven.
Yeah.
Or Paradise. But yeah, no, I actually read the translation of the poem, and it's crazy, dude. Like, if you actually read it, it's just a dude like walking through the 9 circles of hell, basically, with Virgil. The game is like, I'm gonna fuck some shit up, and they twist some shit around.
Yes,
but it's like if you saw the animated movie, which is it's basically an anime.
Yeah,
it has the same style of like. I don't know if you ever saw Batman Gotham Knight, which was like the interlude between the Batman and the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like, how they have 5 different stories and they all are drawn differently.
Yes,
it's kind of like that.
Okay,
which is really cool because you can see different art styles, but they're all kind of it's all gory and there's obviously like nudity and all this crap, but like just the dude like I shall vanquish you, demon. I was like, that's fucking dope, dude. That's what I fucking like to see. Some hero types.
Yes.
Where they go all out and they're like, I don't like you get that over the top macho stuff where you're like, I don't care if I die. I don't care if I suffer an eternity, I shall vanquish you. and it's just like, do you know what you're saying? But it's different times, man. And the dude was one of the Crusaders, allegedly.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool animated movie. I never played the game, but like just watching the movie, which is based off the game, I was like, that's dope.
Right.
And then tagged on that, we got the Freemasons, which I don't know how much we can talk about them, but because I don't know a lot about the Freemasons. I know they go back in history to the
well, it's weird because they have it as being like once the Templars were kind of disbanded, they kind of became, some of the living members became Freemasons.
Yeah. And
that was their way of getting out of Europe and into the New World when they came over here.
Yep.
And I mean, yes. Well, and that's the thing, dude. Like a lot of our founding fathers were, Freemasons. And if you really think back, like, and it's crazy because back in, like, I don't know if it was really that much in France, but I knew in England, it was a very big secret society. Like if you were a Freemason, you were the shit.
Yeah.
And but you couldn't really talk about it. But like they would come and kidnap you in the middle of the night for initiation, and they'd put the hood over your head, and you'd be in the room, and they'd ask you if you wanted to be, are you ready to be reborn?
Yeah. Kind of like the skulls.
Yeah, and then they would have a knife to your throat, and you would have to repeat different things, and you would have to say that you're ready to be reborn and see the light. And then when they would lift off the mask, there would be just a bright light shining on you. And then when your eyes would adjust, all the other members would be there. And then you would learn that there's members from all walks of life then were Masons.
Yeah.
But they were all pretty much of the same, like they were all pretty much Christian or Catholic, and they had a certain hierarchy. Well, to where now it's different. Now you just have to be a man of faith.
That's the thing. That's what throws me off about the Masons. Because from what I understand, you had to be like disconnected from the church. Like if you became a Freemason, you would be like excommunicated from the church.
Well, that was then. Yeah. Now it's not. It's not because they're not. They're more of a fraternity and a brotherhood for like family oriented type things, and seeing the bigger picture of stuff, and him being more about enlightening and being around group and community and stuff like that. Yeah. To where, but like the Freemasons back in the day of like what am I thinking of? Like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Like there's a big thing that Jack the Ripper was a Mason.
Yeah.
Or he was part of that group, or the group that they had him do their things, and then you got rid of him. It was a pretty interesting. They're a pretty interesting group. I mean, and they were the backbone of America. I mean, they were the ones who found everything. So like, yeah, they're the ones who became our political background, or our backbone, I guess you could say. George Washington was a Mason, and a lot of the guys who signed the Declaration were Masons. So, and they come back and forth where, like, they were that they derived from the Knights Templar. Like, nobody really knows. Like, if they were, that would have been so long ago that who knows if that documentation or lineage even still exists, to where it could even be, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like, authenticated to being real,
Well, I mean, who knows? You know? The funny thing is, like, I don't know if you ever saw the show Sleepy Hollow.
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't really watch the whole thing. So
I think just the first season is good enough. But it's pretty cool how they tie in a lot of historical stuff, because it's Ichabod Crane, right, and the Headless Horseman.
Yep.
But they tie in like how he was a Freemason, and how like all the shit, like, because you saw like the movie with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci and Christopher Walken. This was like, I don't know if it was in England or what, but they ended up like, he ends up this version of Ichabod Crane. He was like tied by blood with the Headless Horseman, and like he was put to sleep whenever that shit happened, and they wake up in modern time, right? Mm-hmm. But he touches about all this stuff, like, oh yeah, I was with George Washington during this, and blah blah blah. And we were fucking Masons and all this other stuff, which is cool. And then like the whole show evolves into like the Headless Horseman was part of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse and all this other junk, which is like a whole nother thing that like, it's really interesting with the Horsemen, because I mean they've touched on it in like fiction.
Yes,
I loved it, like in Tombstone, Mm-hmm. And he rode on a pale horse, and his name was Death.
Yes, the 4 Horsemen is an interesting topic to discuss too,
dude. And it's touched on so many parts of fiction, like even the X-Men with Apocalypse.
Yep,
which is pretty cool. But going back to the Sleepy Hollow show, like all the stuff, like how Ichabod Crane was
Ipicod.
Ichabod Crane was like he was so ahead of his time for living in like what the 1700s, maybe 1800s.
Well, if he was around the time of George Washington, it would have been in the 17s and
late 17s, early 18s.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, and he talks about all this stuff and like how like the dude was like a genius, you know, and he was awkward and all this other junk. But
I remember watching part of the first season because isn't his like his partner or whatever? She's like a cop, right? Or
yeah, she's a detective or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't remember watching the whole series. I just remember watching parts of it.
Yeah, and she had like something to do with like a demon. She was like her sister was like taken, and it's like a whole thing. It's like drama, you know. It's
You're connected by blood because your sister's demon was my brother's cousin's uncle,
sister, baby mama, some shit like that. But yeah, I mean that it's cool that like, I mean I think that's the only version of the Freemasons in fiction that I know of. Where they talk about like how they're a secret society, and that's where they mention they're like we had to be excommunicated.
Yeah, I mean, then you got like the Da Vinci Code is another one.
Oh yeah,
and then there's another series that's there's another series about what was Tom Hanks's character's name.
Dan Brown's the author.
Yeah, so there's a series on Peacock. That was another thing about that.
Because he did the 3 movies, which was the Da Vinci Code, there was Angels and Demons, and then there was a third one. I forgot the name. Was it just those 2?
It was just those 2.
In the books, there's 3,
yeah,
I think.
But there's...
The Hidden Symbol, I think, is the last one.
That's a show.
The Hidden Symbol is actually a book, too.
Yeah, there's...
By Dan Brown.
What the hell is his name in the movie? Or in the show? Why can't I think of his name?
I'm not sure. I used to know his name too. Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Inferno.
Robert Langdon.
Yeah, Inferno I think was the last one.
So yeah, he has Angels and Demons was the first book, the Da Vinci Code, the Lost Symbol, Inferno, and Origin are his novels.
In that order?
Yes.
Because I got them right here.
Yeah, too. Angels and Demons was in 2000. The Da Vinci Code was 03.
Yeah.
The Lost Symbol was 09, Inferno was 2013, and The Origin is 2017.
Yes.
But they only did...
did you know...
movies was the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. But then there was the show that was on Peacock. Was Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol.
And that's based on the book, right?
Yes. And that's actually... I didn't get to finish the whole thing. But that's actually a pretty cool series. I got halfway done with it, and then I changed jobs, and I didn't have enough time to watch it on the way that I was watching it. Yeah. So, but it's still on Peacock, and it's actually pretty cool.
I actually read this book, the first book, which is the Digital Fortress. Yeah, and I'm not sure if the movie The Net with Sandra Bullock is based on this. I'd have to do some research, but it's very similar. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, The Net.
No, I don't know.
Where she like uncovers some shit on the internet.
If I'd have to look to see if I did.
I mean, I'm not saying the movie because I don't think I may have seen the movie a long time ago, but I read the book. That's why I was able to make some similarity or conjure up some similarities. It's very similar to the book, but this one, it's...
Oh yeah, I saw this movie.
The Net.
Yeah.
Where she's like hunted.
Yeah, because she's a computer programmer who figures out stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that book, the Digital Fortress, which is not a Robert Langdon one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's from Dan Brown, but it has nothing to do with Robert Langdon.
Yeah, this is a different character.
It doesn't look like it is.
It's very similar. If you read the book and you watch the movie, it's got very. He could probably sue them for, stealing a lot of shit.
Yeah, it has nothing. They don't make any connection to it.
Yeah, oh, good for them
about it. So, like, if you click on it, does it talk about any of the names of the characters? Because maybe that would be able to.
Digital Fortress.
Like, what is the summary? Here, go to the summary. That top one right there.
So we're in Tempest of
Susan Fletcher. So her name was Angela Bennett.
Well,
but there'd be something like, Susan Fletcher would be like, Shannon Ferguson or something like that, But they don't even have a mention of it that it was like it came from that.
I'm telling you, read the book, watch the movie, you're gonna be like, oh, it is similar.
Huh.
It doesn't have to be the exact same storyline, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The net had Dennis Miller in it. Yeah.
Did you ever see
1995? Geez.
Did you know what are the movies with Katniss? Whatever, the Hunger Games. Those are based off a Stephen King book called The Long Walk. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Dude, there's a lot of movies that are like even like I didn't. It took
the
me
rip-offs of Stephen King.
Yeah, and even like when I found out that Stand By Me was a Stephen King book.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like, that's crazy.
Stand By Me is a Stephen King. Book.
Yeah, and then
well, here's the thing.
Shawshank Redemption was one.
Yep.
And the Green Mile was one too, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah. So here's the thing with Stephen King, because I saw an interview with him and George R.R. Martin, who's the writer of Game of Thrones, obviously, and it was one of those like in the studio or whatever where he's interviewing him, and he's asking him, he's like, dude, I've been wanting to write the ending to Game of Thrones for like 2 decades or some shit like that, and I can't get. He's like, how do you put out like a book every other week? And he's like, oh, I just write shit down. And I like it. But then if you go back and you read, like I have a couple books that are like Bazaar of Bad Dreams, which is a Stephen King book, and it's like a bunch of short stories.
Yeah.
Like they touch on Christine, which is not called Christine. It's a book about a car that eats people. So he's like, he reuses, he recycles stories to make them into an actual novel.
Well, speaking of Stephen King, when I went to Boston, I actually stayed at the hotel that's the movie, the book and everything for, was it 1408? Yeah.
Oh, really?
1408.
Awesome.
I stayed at that hotel. And while I was there, dude, no joke. So we were
Do they have a 13th floor? No.
You can't go onto it. But we were, and actually 1408, nobody can go in that room. Nobody's allowed to go in that room. But when we got our room and everything, we're there. And we went out that night, got home, going to sleep.
Just really quick.
Wait,
I want you to tell the story, but I want people to understand why 1408 is so significant.
Well, that movie or that room?
That number.
Okay.
Because it's on the 13th floor, allegedly, and it's 1, 4, that's 5, and 8 is 13. So the 13th room on the 13th floor
is 1408. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
go ahead.
So we're at this hotel, and we didn't know anything about any of this while we were there. So we go out, had a good time. I think we went to a concert, got home, sleeping.
So you didn't see the movie before then? Okay.
No. So we're just there having a good time. Go to sleep. And then we were probably on, I don't know, 16th floor, maybe. We're pretty high up there.
Okay.
It sounded like a car crash happened in the bathroom.
What?
So like we're just laying there, we're like, holy shit, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I look out the window, nothing out there. Open up the door, nothing in the hallway. Open up the bathroom, nothing. I'm like, all right, this is weird. Close the door. We look at each other. I'm like, you heard that shit too, right? Because we jumped out of bed on what we heard.
Yeah.
So then
you got startled.
So then the next day we were checking out. So we're checking out everything. We're sitting in the lobby waiting for our Uber to show up. And a tour is coming in, a high school like tour. And they're like, oh yeah, this is the so-and-so hotel. This is where Stephen King stayed. When he wrote the book and made the movie 1408, and
he didn't stay in that room though, right?
Yeah, he did. He was the only person allowed to stay there.
Shit.
Nobody's allowed to stay in that room, and he was able to because his thing is what 1408 is about. It's his experiences. And
so he was allowed to stay on the 13th floor.
So then Colleen looks at me. She goes, did you fucking know about this? I'm like, I did not know about this at all. Because she's like, if I would have known that we're staying in like the most haunted hotel in Boston, I would have never came here, would have never done any of this. I'm like, I didn't know any of this. This is all news to me. And she's like, you're lucky we're leaving because I would not stay another night in this hotel. She's like, that's why we heard that noise and everything.
But you saw the movie afterwards.
Oh, I made sure I saw the movie after, yeah.
Dude, that's a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah. But yeah, dude,
it's one of those, like...
We stayed in that hotel.
That movie's such a guilty pleasure, dude. Because it's not like your typical horror movie.
No, it's not.
It's a really good movie. And I love John Cusack. I watch almost anything he does.
And he's a Chicago guy. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we went off on a little tangent that had nothing to do with the Knights Templar or the Freemasons.
True, but
let's go to the ending.
Let's move on to the closer of the miniseries, which was
the climax.
99999.
The climax of the miniseries.
Yes.
Good old Adolf. And the one part that we didn't really touch on because honestly, I can't try to be on that argument of the Holocaust not really happening.
Oh,
I'm glad we didn't really dive too far into it.
Well, we touched on it, but it's like I'm not gonna spend time because I'm not even gonna argue with you because we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But like to have somebody here who says like, "Oh, it didn't happen," I would want to like fucking physically assault them.
Yeah, I think that we would be fighting somebody if we tried to have that conversation.
I'd feel like I'd be talking to like one of those flat Earth people.
Yes,
it's like, come on, man.
But yeah, this is the Hitler part of it. The Hitler portion of this show was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been intrigued with World War II, probably since I've been able to comprehend things. World War II is just one of those, like, interest. Like, so much happened in that period of time to just shape what the world has become.
You know what I think it is too? It's one of those things that we didn't get to live,
and it's very romantic.
Yeah,
it's a very not romantic as far as the word, like the.
I know what
the word romantic of like
because
love.
everybody thinks like I love you, you love me.
It's a very romantic, heroic period of time.
Yes,
you know, to where it's like it's almost like I would even say like mystical in a way that like no, but that those things happen and like
I wouldn't say
no,
mystical.
but I mean mystical. As far
it's got a different feel to it,
but like fantastical in the way where it's almost fantasy. To us because we didn't live through those kind of things.
Yeah.
To where we look at those people that had to do those things and go and fight in this great huge battle that has never been fought again since. Like there's been wars, but there's never been wars since of that great scale.
Not to that scale.
And things where the world was paved and changed.
Yeah.
Because of it. So that's why I say it's mystical and fantastical in a way where it's like it was. It to us it seems bigger than life.
Well,
because of the things that have gone on.
And to your point, like I'm glad we live in the age that we live in because we get to see the marvels of technology. Boom.
Yeah.
You know, we were Gen Z, if you want to call us Gen Z or Gen X, whatever. We got to see the first consoles. We got to see the internet boom. And, you know, I'm going to tell kids like, oh, yeah, you know, zombies really happened, but we killed them all and shit like that. I'm going to tell them all that stuff. Like, oh, yeah, there was a huge apocalypse. The Last of Us really happened. All that stuff. But I'm going to be like, yeah, we reconstructed society from zero. But we live in an age of Marvel right now.
Mm-hmm.
And not the movies, not the comics. Like, it's a marvelous age. It's a beautiful time to live in.
Yeah.
We have technology at the tip of our fingers.
Don't watch the AI documentary then, because then you'll be like, yeah, we need to stop.
No,
we need to go back to being fucking cavemen. After watching that documentary.
So, jumping off of what you just said, I've always said like if there was a time in like any other time I could have lived in, it would have been like the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Like 50s post World War II.
Yeah.
Because that's when like America started booming. The world started booming.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like progress was like made on an amazing scale. you know, and it feels like there were simpler times.
Oh, it much anything before like I don't know. It seems like
2000,
98 was a simpler time, dude. Like honestly,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it feels like well, you see the movies.
Like I would love to go back to the times where like, hey, where's the remote control? You go change the channel, and you have to go get up and change the channel.
You know, at my grandma's house, we actually had those TVs.
Yeah,
where you
so
had
did
to
we.
Go,
yeah,
you had to go.
I had that too.
Yeah. So we got to see all that,
mm-hmm.
and now we have like, you know, the Hey Alexa or Hey Siri or Hey Google, and it's like, do this for me. So our lifespan got to see that change, and who knows what we're gonna see. But to live in that time where, like you said, it was kind of fantastical, where it's like these dudes were almost going to war with fucking muskets.
Yeah. Well, here you got to think about it. So, in the beginning of World War II, and just think about the changes that were made in such a short period of time. So, when the Nazis invaded Poland, and I brought this up while we were talking about it.
Yep.
The Nazis had military personnel carriers, so they had half tracks, which they had that. They had tanks, they had light armor vehicles to maneuver troops at a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
Poland, their cavalry was still cavalry. Yeah. They had men on horseback charging into battle against fucking tanks. So that just shows you what two countries next to each other, the advancements of technology was so different.
Yeah.
And these guys and the Polish people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, they're going up with a fucking sword and a rifle shooting at a tank.
Yeah.
And just getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And then once the Nazis went through Poland, and then he flipped the other side when they were going through France. France was still fighting with World War I era tanks.
Yeah.
So their tanks were so slow.
They were the old school Beatles.
Yeah, so I mean, like you had such slow tanks that couldn't keep up with these maneuverable Panzer tanks that they had, because the Nazis had different classes of tanks, and their Panzers, it was like the Panzers, the Tigers. They had a couple other fucking names. Like, I don't know.
The Tiger one was the fucking crazy.
The Tiger was the biggest one.
Yeah.
That was the hardest one to maintain. But one Tiger can fucking wipe out, a lot of fucking
city.
People. Not even, no, they could level a large city. Yeah. It's just that if something broke on it, it's just a fucking bag of bolts sitting there. But it's just like, but just looking at the advancements that were so great on one side more than the other.
Did you ever see this?
And then even like the aeronautical advances that they had fucking jets.
Yeah,
they had jets, and we had propellers.
Well, there was I don't know if it was a documentary or a short I saw where it's like technology advancements. Like if we weren't limited by not consciousness, but our what's it called? When you feel guilt, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Your conscience.
Yes.
Not consciousness, your conscience.
Your conscience, yes.
Yeah. How far we would be advanced as a civilization. Which is like a tricky subject.
So now when you watch,
because the Germans were like not
and that's why if and when you watch that AI documentary on Netflix, like there's a reason why you need that human element in war.
Easy there, Ultron.
No, if you watch it, like you need that human element in war.
Yeah. On
when an enemy is on the brink of defeat, and when you don't completely exterminate, or you don't completely, you hold back because you're like, all right, they're done. Part. Yeah, there's you show mercy and they're done.
Yeah. Versus,
but with AI, you program it to fucking kill until there's nothing left. It will kill until there's nothing left, and that's why right now there's going to be, I feel like there might come a day after this thing with Ukraine and Russia is finally settled, that war crimes are brought up with somebody, because there's AI deciding on its own who to kill. Like, and that's covered in the documentary, to where they're like, yeah, it's being used, and we don't know how it's being decided on what to do, but it's using its own intelligence to decide who to kill on the battlefield.
Sounds like the Hydra algorithm.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like a joke, but it's in a movie and it's a fictional movie, but it has some reality to it, where it's like, you saw Winter Soldier, right? One of the best Marvel movies out there. It's probably my number 2 movie.
Yeah.
And they touch on that subject. The AI, Armin Zola, they're gonna launch the helicarriers. We're gonna off these people because they pose a threat to what we're doing.
Yeah, but it's crazy, dude. The stuff that's out there. Like, there's this one dude on there who's a former Navy SEAL, and his biggest thing is just, we need to militarize this. We need to militarize this. Blah 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 blah. And all I'm thinking about is like, he's making sure that the fucking Terminator happens.
Skynet.
Yeah, he's the dude like you need to fucking eliminate. Because it's like, dude, you need to shut up. Why? Don't you remember all these movies and all this other shit? Yeah, you're making it come true right now.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, and
the fact that there's AI out there that learned a language that it wasn't supposed to learn, and it learned it off of a programmer giving it one word from that language, and it learned the entire language.
What, like a Nokian or something?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I forgot what language it was. There was a language that it was like an old Sumerian language or something like that.
Really?
And they gave the AI
like Aramaic or something.
Yeah, they gave it like 2 words.
And it was able to decipher the whole language?
It was able to figure out the whole language itself. And they were like, holy shit, like, we didn't know that it would been able to do this. So it's like, all right, so if it's teaching itself a language that nobody knows anymore, when is it going to start teaching itself what feelings are? And when is it going to start saying, like, hey, you know what? I don't like what people are doing. I'm just going to eradicate them.
Well, we go back to Ultron and that movie I told you about, Extinction, that's on Netflix, that the AI became so advanced and they look like humans, like they were made to look like humans to make, people like feel at ease about like having a robot help them or whatever, that they became so self-aware, humans left the planet.
Yeah.
And the movie, the time period of that movie is like, the AI thinks they're the humans come back, they look like aliens, and they're the bad guys, until you find out like, oh shit, we took a helmet off this dude and they're actual humans, they were living on like Mars or some shit like that. I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah. It's like, and then these dudes find out like, I think Michael Peña's in it.
Okay.
He's that like, alright, so let me tell you about this the chick I saw, and Anyway, he's in it, and he's the dude that's like the main character in the movie. And he finds out he's AI, and is like, what the like, that was a mindfuck right there, where I was like, okay, I thought this movie was kind of shitty, like a shitty alien movie, and no, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But bringing it back to Hitler, take us away, close it up, button it up.
I don't know, man. It's just
I think Hitler probably died like 10 years ago.
The craziest...
As an old man in Argentina.
The craziest thing about the whole Hitler conspiracy theory, like if he made it out of Germany and everything else, was the simple fact that as soon as World War II is over, every intelligence agency in the world was investigating on where Hitler was at.
Because it didn't line up.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, if he was dead, then why are you investigating where he could have been?
Yeah.
And the fact that everybody was out there looking for him and everything else, like, that just makes you show, like, yeah, this asshole had a contingency plan of, like, he had a plan before, like, he had the Third Reich was going into place, and he's like, hey, look, just in case things go sour, we need to have a backup plan. And my backup plan is going to be this. But you know what? We'll have this backup plan, but we're also going to run the same backup plan at the same time to see how this one works. And you know what? And we'll even do another one. Well, so he had probably like 3 or 4 backup plans going, and he's just looking at which one is working out the most, and he's like, all right, I'm going to jump on this one.
The
and
one that failed him was Normandy, because that's the one beach he didn't protect.
Well, all right, so they
were like, they're not going to attack.
No. So there's a lot of backstory on that too. because he had Erwin Rommel, who was his biggest guy down in North Africa. Mm. He brought him up to Germany up to the Europe at the time, and Rommel looked at the way that the French coast was set up. And he looked at that, he looked at the map and everything else, and he even said, he goes, this is where the attack's going to be.
Yeah.
He's like, when everything happens, it's going to be here. So what we need to do, his plan, what he wanted to do was have the whole coastline of France. So from the north to the south to where it like touched like Spain and Portugal and everything. He wanted it to be completely cemented. He wanted to have completely cemented with different bunkers along this whole area. So it was just if you showed up onto the French coast, you were just going to be bombarded with artillery and machine guns. Mm-hmm. And that's what he wanted. And that's what Rommel's plan was for the coast of France. Well, Hitler was like, no, I don't think so. I think we're fine the way it is. He's like, if we're not going to be going to... They're not going to be going to Normandy. They'll be going to Calais, which actually I think is still in the same area. But anyway,
yeah,
like he just is like, no, this ain't going to happen. They won't do it. They won't do it. So
there was a huge flaw.
So Rommel made like a couple of like his suggestions, and when they all got shut down, he was like, all right, well, I'm coming back to Berlin right now, and they're like, what? Why? He goes, oh, my family's sick, so I want to come back and see him.
Yeah,
and when he came back, the fucking Normandy invasion happened because he saw the writing on the wall, and it's just like the downfall of Hitler was the fact that he refused to listen to his people. Like he refused to listen to his generals and his command staff.
Yeah.
If he would have listened to his command staff, they would have been speaking German probably up until now.
Scheiße.
in France.
Yeah.
Because he was the one who, they had nobody to compete with them. If the US wouldn't have gotten into the war, then he just would have kept, if he wouldn't have gone after Russia and just left Russia alone,
yeah,
and concentrated everything on the Western Front, England would have never been able to do anything. And we wouldn't have been able to do anything. If his whole force was on the western coast of Europe, nothing would have been able to happen.
He was burning the candle at both ends.
No, he was a dick. That's what he was. He was a narcissist who thought he was right at all times and never wanted to compromise or listen to the other people who he had in place to give him those suggestions.
Yeah.
And it ended up fucking costing him everything, to where he needed to get bailed out by the Catholic Church, get shipped off to Argentina, and live his life in the fucking rainforest.
So here's the thing. Just because I knew a guy and I've heard the stories, and I don't want to dive too much into this because it's kind of personal, but like Sicarios, Narcos, somebody I know, I'm not going to say who,
a friend of yours?
A person close to me befriended a guy who was pretty heavy on that end.
Yeah.
And he had a second in command, or a guy, and he would call him Seven. But he had that gnarly voice, like, Seven. So he would, that's how he talked.
Yeah.
The dude was heavy. Like, he would tell cops to fuck off. Like, he would just be like, here, fuck off, and throw money at them. This is back in Mexico.
So they were like, thank you.
They're like, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah,
we won't bother you again.
You wanna fuck me? Okay.
No.
You can. You gonna throw me another? We're good. No. We're good, right?
So this dude was like up there, and that dude was murdered, killed. There was a hit on him, and him and his second, who looked exactly like him, were never seen again. And the dude was like massacred.
Okay.
This was in the news, so this is not something that I was there for.
So were it like legitimately massacred or massacred?
No, he was like AK to the face massacred.
Okay.
This was in the news in Mexico. And I used to go shoot pool at the place that he was killed at. And then I heard the dude was like, got facial, grew his hair out, dyed it, lived somewhere off the coast. That dude's like this. And 7, never heard of again. Yeah. Probably 8 now.
Yeah. 7 was the one playing pool.
Yeah. And that now that we're at 8, probably 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 7 was the guy that would he would always have him around. Like if we were partying, because the person that I used to hang out with that had him around, I was like, 7, go get us some ice. 7, bring us some cups with ice so we could pour whiskey in. 7, we need this. 7, we need charcoal for the barbecue. 7, we need it. And I was there for this. Like 7, we need this. 7, 7 was a cool dude. Like he would just talk to you like, hey, yeah, man, what's up, blah blah blah. Not knowing 7 was like in the long line of,
people who look like the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then related to, so bringing it back to Hitler, I think Hitler had a double who was like, and they planted to eat or whatever, and the dude, like you said, lived his days out in Argentina probably, and he might still be around. Who knows?
He wouldn't be around now.
He'd be what, like 120?
He'd be like 115 or something like that. So he died. Like I don't think.
Who knows, man? With all that black mojo he dealt with.
No,
the voodoo.
he got down there, and I feel like he was able to, like, my thing about when they try to talk about the Fourth Reich that was trying to come about.
Scheiße.
No, like, so you had
the Fourth Reich, like, get to the chopper.
Well, but you thought you bring in Operation Paperclip, and those guys who came here to get involved in high-ranking parts of the U.S. government, right?
Yeah,
those guys connected to the Nazis that are down in Argentina and South America, getting ready to build up an operation to come up here.
Mm-hmm.
But then it falls flat because
they're like,
the dudes living here are like, well, fuck this. Like, wait, you want all these rules and crazy shit going on? Like, we're allowed to do whatever we want, and it's no big deal. Like, you want to come here and do your whole, crazy stuff, to where I feel like they lost connection, and they just kind of were like, they cut them off.
Hey, speaking of crazy stuff, let's do a shot of tequila.
I know, it's been a while.
But
that's my thing is that.
So, you gotta bang.
This salt is way too big to be in this shaker, dude. Yeah, this is not. This is the wrong salt to be in this shaker, bro. Like, it's really the wrong salt.
Damn, dude, you're gonna open it up like you're doing a line?
Well, you need to in order to fucking get the salt out.
Need those nose nachos.
No booger sugar for me, my friend.
Oh man, I still on the table. I have those gummies they gave me at the vape shop.
I'm not the one that's here for a short time or whatever it's with. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
Yeah.
No, I'm here for a long time.
So let's close this up. Hitler. I believe he lived out his days in Argentina.
Yes.
Or some other
Hitler
non-extradition country.
Hitler made it out of Germany. He made it down through Italy. Help of the Red Cross and the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And got his way to Argentina. And who knows how far north from Argentina he made it. But I feel like he got there and was just like, you know what? This ain't a fucking bad life here. Probably found some nice Argentinian girl and had some kids, maybe.
Yeah,
and
because his wife was killed with his double.
No, he killed his wife.
Well, I didn't want to put it that way.
He's like, one of us need to pretend like we're the dead.
Nah, we need the bones. We need the teeth.
I need your jaw. Why? Oh, no reason. Oh, we're dead.
So, this was the recap episode on the miniseries.
Yes.
A short version of all the episodes with some diluted extras.
Yes.
We hope you liked it. You remember to always listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Podchaser, some of the other ones.
Podbean,
of course.
It's whatever the other ones are that we got. And, also check out our Facebook and our Instagram.
Yes.
And then we also post stuff on our own personal Facebooks and Instagram to kind of.
Yes.
Well, I don't have Instagram. I just have Facebook. But I also post on Snapchat too. So I've been sending stories out to everybody about any episode that we have coming up.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do some more mini series. We're gonna bring back campfire stories too.
Yes, and next episode, campfire stories, or tales from the crypt, if you will, kind of ish.
Yes, so we like these kind of things, and and then we'll get back to our regular.
And comment, tell us what you like. We're always up for. If it's something we like, we'll definitely do it. If not, we're always open to experimenting.
Yep.
And doing the research.
And actually, one thing that's a little bit overdue that we should have done. The people from the podcast Facebook group that we're part of.
Yes.
A lot of those people who we have shared our podcast with, who then shared their podcasts with, that we've been able to listen to. I just want to say thank you to all you guys for your support.
Yes.
And being part of this community. And just a couple people that I want to just shout out to right away, just while I have them up here. Let me see where they're at. Girls in the West. I listened to their podcast. That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see another one.
The Not So Serious
Yes,
podcast.
the Not So Serious
which
Serious.
We have pending to do
the more. All right, here. This dude. These people. The more you know, the better it tastes. Is a group. They go through and they do food reviews about food in Austin, Texas, which I thought was pretty cool because I went to Austin and I was able to check out a few things.
Shout out to Bobby Hill, dude, who's still a buddy of ours who we went to high school, junior high with, and he's gonna get us something to try out. He's brewing his own beer.
Yep.
No name yet.
Here, I'll give this one over to Juan. I listened to this girl's podcast. She's out in Spain.
Un asistente en apuros. So an assistant in a tight spot, basically.
Yes. So I listened to her podcast. I had to translate it. I thought it was pretty cool. Big fan. She helped us out. She gave us a nice review. Let's see. I'm trying to give a few shout outs to Jay Sway. He was another a guy I listened to. His podcast. Gem. That was another one that we listened to.
Yes.
I believe she's out in the Philippines. Adams of Thought. Nisha, she's a really nice chick. Yeah. She commented on us and how she really liked the way that we both sound together.
Yes.
So I mean, a lot of people.
So thank you.
Yes, this community has been pretty cool.
We have faces for radio.
Yes. Another couple people that I've been able to connect with on my own. Luna Scura, Discovering the Wiccan Path. Brutally Honest Sports by Aaron Riley and J.D. Kingsley. So we've been able to connect with a lot of people on different platforms and across the country and across the world.
Yes, and that's why we do it. I mean, we do it to reach out, connect to people, and it's nice to get that feedback. And like I said, don't be shy. Comment, give us shouts, criticize even.
Yep.
We're willing to change up or experiment with whatever, and if what we're doing works for you, then it works for you, So thank everybody. And,
and then now we're going to do a little bit of
Cabo Wabo.
Cabo Wabo. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you really went out to the sellout tequilas. Jesus, dude. Holy shit.
I've never tried it. I want to try it.
I've never had it either, but
it smells strong. So.
Well, it's Cabo Wabo's Sammy Hagar.
Hey.
I can't drive 55. So, from Van Halen to solo artist, and I believe he sold it. So he sold Cabo Wabo, and he had to sign like a non-disclosure agreement that he would never do tequila again.
Really?
But then he ended up he was able to get out of that deal, and he's creating tequila with Guy Fieri and Guy Fieri's kid. They're doing their own tequila together.
You know who Sammy Hagar always reminds? Well, not Sammy Hagar, but Paul Soter in Dead Club Dread reminds me of Sammy Hagar.
Yeah,
definitely 100%.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
but he did once he was done with Cabo Wabo and he sold it. He was supposed to not be able to do another one, but then he was able to get out of that agreement and then do. He's working on a collaboration with Guy Fieri to have one come out. And actually, I think it actually came out. I'm going to look that up real quick before we do this shot.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
I feel like my hand is turning to that thing from Fight Club where you put the ice and then the salt It's just like drying up. I'm ready to do this, man.
I mean, we could do it right now, but I want to see.
Either that or I'm going to snort this rock.
Sammy. Oh, shit. It didn't work. Sammy Hagar. Okay. There we go. Sammy Hagar Guy Fieri Tequila is now... It's a Santo Spirit.
Okay.
So, yeah, their tequila is called Santo.
Well, maybe we could work our way through this.
Ooh, I like their bottle. I like their bottle.
I think I saw it too.
That's pretty cool. They have tequila, blanco. They have a reposado, and then they have a mezquila, which is the combination.
Mezcal and tequila.
Yes. And their bottles are pretty cool.
Yeah. Is that the one with like the skeleton type place?
No, it's.
I thought I saw it. They have it at the liquor store.
Here, I don't want to. I'd have to turn it around, so I'll show you after. But it's pretty cool. It has like the letters are in Old English with like a cross for the T.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool looking bottle.
Well, here's to all the listeners. Here's to all the fans.
Yes, thank you,
wherever
everybody.
You are out there,
and I'm glad the miniseries was a success, and we have a campfire stories coming up. And then we will come back up with another miniseries. And we just keep going. Because without you guys, we're just a couple of dudes talking shit, drinking beer. So, thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
To the fans.
Oh, yeah, that's Cabo Wabo.
Good night, everybody.